So welcome to the Internationalizing Your Degree section of today's Majors Night. My name is Haley McCormick, and I am the Arts and Science Exchange Coordinator. My pronouns are she, her. I work in the International Programs Office here at Queen's, and I'm so thrilled to be in this virtual space with you. And I'll turn things over to Vicki for an introduction there.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well. It's so great to see that there is such a good turnout for this. I am super impressed. As Haley said, my name is Vicki Lewis, and I work in the Undergraduate Admission and Recruitment Department, and that's located in Gordon Hall. Most of you probably haven't visited us yet, but that's where we are. And I primarily work with students who are interested in going to our international campus, known as the Castle, or the Bader International Study Center. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about those opportunities a little bit later in the presentation. Back to you, Haley.
Thanks so much, Vicki. All right, everyone. So as we mentioned today, we're going to be discussing global learning experiences that you can take advantage of while you're completing your arts and science degree here at Queen's University. And to begin our time together, I would like to pause and acknowledge that Queen's University is situated on the traditional territories of the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee nations. And when I reflect on this, and particularly in light of the conversation we're having here today, I think about the role and the responsibility that students and faculty and staff of our institution have when traveling as guests to different countries and communities around the world. And I'm hopeful that you will have an opportunity like that while you study here at Queen's. And when you do take advantage of an opportunity like that, that you do so acknowledging the responsibility that you would carry of learning about the lands that you would be traveling to and the community of caretakers of that land that you would be engaging with. And I hope that that is a value and a thought that we can keep with us tonight as we discuss the fantastic array of international opportunities that we have in the Faculty of Arts and Science. So, as I mentioned a few times, today we are talking about internationalizing your degree at Queen's University. There are so many ways to do this. In the International Programs Office, we have short-term study abroad opportunities. We have longer-term study abroad opportunities like spending a full year in Scotland, and lots of ways in between, including having an international experience at home. So those are some of the topics we'll be discussing tonight. But first, we should start with this ever important question, and one we frequently ask ourselves as international education professionals: why is it so important to internationalize an undergraduate degree? There are lots and lots of reasons to do so, and I think one of the most important is that 2/3 of hiring managers say that in Canada, students are being left behind. Other countries that really push this global education for their students, such as Brazil and India and China, and that the skill sets that are developed when students are taking their learning on the road or across an ocean are really essential to the globalized workforce that students will be entering. So there's lots of evidence of literature and reports such as the Go Global Canada report that emphasize the critical importance for Canadian students and for students receiving an education in Canada to have this kind of internationalization in their degree plans. And of course, alongside that, there's the valuable personal experiences that come along with this. So for instance, we have a quote here from a student who studied abroad on exchange at the University of Glasgow and then was a volunteer in the IPO, talking about how exchange completely changed their perspective on what was possible in the future. And there are many other reasons to changing your perspective is one, but there are many other reasons to study abroad and get that exposure to different styles of learning around the world. And these are just a couple. These are what we hear very often from students who return from an exchange or a study abroad experience. They talk about how they're preparing their graduate school applications and how amazing it is that they get to talk about this field course that they took, while studying abroad in Europe or in Australia. They talk about the soft skills that they gained, for instance, how to engage with people, peers who come from different cultures, who speak different languages, and how useful that's been when they come back to the Queen's campus, but also as they start to look for jobs and they can list that on their resume. And of course, it's an important reflective experience studying abroad because you can learn not only about other cultures in this world that you may experience if you go halfway around the world, or you may experience when you come home and you're back in your home community and you had never noticed, but it's also an opportunity for you to learn about yourself and do some really serious reflecting. And when I was an exchange student, that was one of the most impactful experiences that I had, is starting to recognize things in myself that I hadn't seen before. So that was a real gift and something I still carry with me today, and something I hope that students experience on the program. So there's a lot of reasons why we would encourage you, for academic, personal, and even professional reasons, to consider internationalizing your degree. And how exactly can you do this in a mere 4 years at Queen's University? There are just too many. I think that probably Vicky and I could easily go over an hour probably sharing some of the experiences that we work on with you and that we would want you to know about. One of these is really close to home being, of course, physically on campus in Kingston, but also virtually in these spaces that we're sharing during the pandemic. So there's lots of opportunities for an arts and science student to have an international experience without having to board a plane. And some of these include the International Study Certificate, which is a certificate students can enroll in alongside their degree and earn as they're completing their degree. And this certificate is important because it will open your perspective through courses and academic work to different perspectives, and also to possibly different subject areas or different professions that you may find of interest. And of course, it's really fantastic to be able to walk across the convocation stage twice with both a degree and a certificate. There are also a lot of international events that are happening on campus. As I've hinted at a little bit in our conversation so far, you don't actually have to board a plane to have an international or intercultural experience. There is so much diversity in this land we call Canada, and in the city of Kingston, and at Queen's as well. And places I would direct you to seek out those international at home experiences would be the Queen's the Queen's University International Center, which offers volunteer opportunities and social opportunities like movie nights and quizzes in their social media accounts, and also certain international at home events. I don't know about you, but I'm often joining listservs and attending conversations that are happening on Microsoft Teams or on Zoom that have lectures with an international focus. So there's a lot of ways to get that international experience without having to go and study in a different place. However, we can imagine that that might be the reason you're here tonight, to talk about going to a different place, a different environment, and taking your studies there. And so I'll shift gears a little bit and share just a few of the amazing programs that we offer in the International Programs Office. And I'll pause for a second too, and just let you know a little bit more about who we are in the International Programs Office. So we are the home base for arts and science students, but also for students from other faculties to explore both short-term and long-term study abroad experiences. Our most popular program is the Bilateral Arts and Science Exchange program, and that sends around 300 students to more than 30 countries around the world every year. But we also have really fantastic shorter-term programs, and I'll give you just a taste of what those are now. Actually, I'm going to pause and leave you with that teaser and hand things over to Vicky, who will tell you a bit more about the castle, and then I will revisit some of those fantastic opportunities.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Haley. So again, my name is Vicky. I'm here from the Bisque. And as I mentioned, I work with students who are interested in studying at the castle, as you can see, in one of their upper years of study. So we mean after your first year. It could be the summer of your first year, after your first year, or any year after that. For many of you, you might have heard of the castle, but for those of you who haven't, Queen's actually has an international campus in England, and it's known as the Castle, as I mentioned. And it's actually located at Hurstmonceux Castle in East Sussex, England, and it's located on about 600 acres of beautiful English countryside. We're about an hour and a half away from the global city of London, and just a short ride away from airports for adventures as well. Our proximity to London's global hub of top businesses, government institutions, and non-government organizations really plays a vital role while you're studying with us. It provides that true hands-on learning environment. And that's really what we're known for. It's really about taking your learning outside of the traditional classroom. If you could just flip the slide for me, Haley. Perfect. So what do we have to offer? Well, the BISC is a really great alternative or addition to any study abroad experience. As Haley mentioned, we have, a vast array of opportunities at Queen's, and we have a very high rate of students looking to go abroad. So this is just another opportunity, and you can attend the Castle in conjunction with potentially an exchange or another international opportunity, and that would just be something that we would encourage you to look into early to make sure that you set yourself up in terms of academic success. So what do we have to offer? Well, in what we've probably heard of us through is we actually offer a first year program. We have about 150 first year students during a typical academic year. And then we also offer upper year programming each term. So on the screen, you'll see the programming that we're currently offering. We usually run a fall term each year. So that would, of course, run during the same term as Queen's, September to December. We offer a winter term, and then we also offer an accelerated 6-week term that starts at the beginning of May, right after your exams in April. So this year, we are going to be running 2 of our summer programs completely online due to COVID-19. Our Castle Summer Plus program and our archaeology program. Yes, archaeology being run online. It was very interesting to hear about, and I'm super excited to see it in action. Both programs will allow you the opportunity to take between 3 and 9 units. So you can take 1 course with us this summer, or you can take up to 9. And you would be paying the same fees as you're paying right now for your Faculty of Arts and Science tuition. So there's no difference there with our online courses. And that's what's really nice. You can kind of, if you are interested this summer, test out some of our courses, see if they're interesting to you, see if the way that we teach, strikes a chord with you. And if this is something that you might want to look into for a future term, it's a really good way to test that. So although you're in these online courses, you're still going to be pretty active in your learning. You'll take part in virtual experiential learning. So, experiencing your learning hands-on or virtually. You'll have close contact with your instructors, and you will have small synchronous classes, so live sessions with your prof during in the summer. And those vary, it just depends on what courses you're interested in. So this summer, there's some pretty neat courses being offered. I mentioned the archaeology fieldwork course, which is very interesting to me. It's 6 units. It's kind of like a full year course that you're going to be completing in 6 weeks, and it allows you to take part in a joint course that's run actually alongside the University of Waterloo. And you're going to be taking part in a dig that's happening at the castle virtually. And there's no experience in archaeology needed. So take a look at that if that's something you're interested in. We're also offering courses like Film 303, which is World Cinemas. One of the courses that really interested me was History 241, and that is called Playing World War I Computer Games and Memory. We're even offering courses like POLS 263, Introduction to International Security. So there's really a vast array of courses. So take a look at our website, see what we're offering, see if any, strike a chord with you, and you can try them this summer. So if they sound interesting to you, you can actually enroll on Solace now yourself for the summer term. Just make sure that when you're searching for our courses that you change your campus default from Kingston over to the Bader International Study Center so that you can search for our courses. Next year, we're looking forward to welcoming our students back to the Castle in England for our winter 2022 term. So you'll see the programs we offer there. And I always recommend look at these programs in advance, set yourself up, work with an academic advisor to figure out when's the best time for you to go. And our website is always up to date, so make sure you check us out, and you can take a look at our full course list there as well. So Haley, if you could just go to the next slide for me. I'll just quickly wrap it up. Just a few additional notes that I wanted to kind of touch on, like what really makes us different from other study abroad experiences. Well, one, of course, we're Queens. You know, we're known as the Castle or the Bisque, but really we're Queens International Campus. So all of our courses are Queens courses. You don't need to worry about credit transfer or anything like that. They are all Queens courses with Queens codes. You can also attend the Bisque in any year of study. So most students do choose to study in their third year. We see a trend in that. But of course, you know, you can take courses with us this summer after your first year. You know, you can come to us in your second year, third, fourth year. So just whatever works for you and your degree, but we definitely recommend connecting with an academic advisor to make sure that you set yourself up for success. We also have lots of funding opportunities, and that was on our other slide, and I didn't mention it, so I'm going to make sure I get that in there. That in our winter and fall terms, usually we sometimes offer some really good funding opportunities. So what that means is kind of like a scholarship, but it's not based on grades. So next winter, 2022. We're going to be offering $7,000 guaranteed to students who would like to join us. There will be a cap on how many we can offer. So it is a first come, first serve. So if you're interested in that, you can connect with me. If you're interested, say you're in first year now, you're thinking, well, maybe I'm more interested in third year. Connect with me. We can always put you on a mailing list to make sure that you're kept updated on our funding opportunities as well. And lastly, just another benefit to the program that's included in your program fee, because there is a program fee. So we're slightly different from an exchange program. There would be a fee associated with coming to the castle. Students have the opportunity to travel farther and further because included in your program fee is a 4-day trip to a major European city. In the past, students have been to Paris, Berlin, Oxford, London, so some pretty neat places. And then on their off time, we encourage students to travel even farther. So we only run classes from Monday to Thursday. So it means that you do have a 3-day weekend. We do offer what's called experiential learning. So as I mentioned, getting active in your learning over the weekend sometimes. So we make sure that you have all of those schedules in advance so you can plan your adventures as well. So really, this is just a short summary of what we have to offer. I will post our website in the chat. And then I'll be in our Zoom meeting, our meeting room. So if you have any questions, I'll stick around until 7 o'clock and you can ask your questions, but please feel free to contact us. Our email is really easy. It's just castle@queensu.ca and I can walk you through the process. So thanks everyone. I'm going to pass it back to Haley.
Oh, thank you, Vicky. Sorry, everyone. I'm having some sticky keys on my keyboard. It's causing my screen to do lots of things I don't want it to do. That sounds really fantastic. I'm still hoping to go to the International Study Center in England someday soon, I hope. And now let's shift gears a little bit and we'll go back to some of the international program office programming I was mentioning. And what I really want to highlight for you all in the next few slides is the ability for students to engage in programs that offer different areas of focus, may have different types of funding opportunities or professional opportunities, and can take place at different times and for different lengths of time, because we recognize that you are all unique individuals. You have many things going in your life, many passions and areas of interest. So it's important that we're offering you a variety of opportunities so you can find what is going to best fit your needs. So in terms of the International Programs Office, we do have quite a few types of programs that will span different lengths of time. The Matariki Indigenous Student Mobility Program, for instance, is a 2-week field studies course that is not for credit and that specifically hosts Indigenous students, along with some of our partners from the Matariki Network, which is a global network of like-minded and similar valued universities. And while on this program, students are identifying current challenges that Indigenous communities around the world may be facing and how they may be tackling those in different ways. So it's quite a unique opportunity. And there's other opportunities that might be a bit longer and perhaps have kind of a professional focus or maybe a unique academic focus, such as the summer research program for science and health science students. And that takes place for 3 months every summer, typically when travel is safe, in either France or Germany. Like the Matariki Indigenous Student Mobility Program, this is a not-for-credit opportunity, but it is a fantastic way to start to engage with different academics and even professionals in different countries around the world and gain lived practical experience working in labs. So I wish I had more time with you to go through this wide array of options we have on the list. But the good news is that we've got concrete information available for you on our website. And we're here at Majors Night as well in our own room or booth. And you're welcome to come and join us and ask questions there. There's also departmental programs within the Faculty of Arts and Science that I would like to highlight. For instance, there's the DEVS 305 Cuban Society and Culture course, which pairs with a winter term lecture-based course and seminar-based course here in Kingston on campus or virtually currently. And then it couples with a field studies component of the course that takes place in Havana in Cuba. So there's a variety of opportunities available through specific departments. And what's beneficial about this is it allows students to study abroad potentially at different times in their degree, earn Queen's courses while they're studying abroad, and study abroad usually in a group, and really have that particular academic focus, for instance, the art history summer school in Italy. And that is a fantastic way to really dive into the interests that you may have in your major or even your minor area of study. And of course, the most commonly utilized program that we have that sends students around the world is the Arts and Science Exchange Program. It's actually a multifaceted program. There's 6 kind of components to it, and we're going to be hosting all sorts of information sessions in the fall term, so you'll be able to come out or review recordings online and get fully versed in all things exchange. I'll just cover a couple of key components of the program so that you have a good overview of what this entails. So we have in the Arts and Science Exchange Program more than 100 partner universities in over 30 countries around the world. We are on every continent except for Antarctica, and I think that's okay. I have not heard a student yet tell me that's where they want to go. But we can pretty much send students to nearly every corner of the world. What's important to note in terms of finances is that while on the Arts and Science Exchange Program, tuition is paid to Queen's and there is funding available. As well, on the Arts and Science Exchange Program, students are taking courses that are not offered at Queen's. They're taking courses that are offered by universities like the National Taiwan University or Korea University or the University of Edinburgh. So these are courses beyond the Queen's curriculum that will truly expose students to different types of content and different types of learning that can be beneficial for the student themselves, but also for their future prospects like graduate school. And finally, there is safety training and support services that prepare Gales to go abroad. So we have a comprehensive pre-departure and we have re-entry support to ensure that students can make the most of this opportunity. As I mentioned, there's a lot of components to Arts and Science Exchange, and these are the kind of key programs that make it up. So just to give you a quick overview of what this means, there are 70 different partners that participate in our bilateral program. There are unique opportunities like the TRICEP, as you see on this list, which is very unique at Queen's, and it is an opportunity for students to study in 2 places, Scotland and Singapore, in 1 academic year. So whatever it is that you're hoping to achieve through your study abroad, we have a lot of options to help you get there and to really help you tailor that and make it your own. How does this all work? That's an important question, and I like to use the cycle as a good way to explain that. You are at step 1 of the cycle, and that is year 1. It's your job right now to listen and learn and start dreaming about what this could look like. In year 2, that's when you're going to really start to organize and actually submit an application for exchange to the International Programs Office. In year 3, you study abroad on the program. And in year 4, you come back and you give back, meaning you can be a peer advisor or volunteer at IPO events and help other students experience study abroad. As I mentioned, there's comprehensive funding available. There's exchange bursaries. There are host country and or partner specific awards. For instance, there are awards for students who study in the UK through an organization called Butex. There's awards for students who study abroad in Sweden through a not-for-profit that has a chapter here in Canada. And there's lots of others that the IPO is constantly keeping an eye out for and providing information about to students. And there's even post-exchange opportunities for funding, such as the Dean's Award for Returning Exchange Students. And if you have any questions about what budgeting looks like on exchange or how you can manage that, I would encourage you to contact us at ipo@queensu.ca so that we can give you more details. It's never too early to start. And as I also mentioned, there's a lot of support for students who participate in the exchange program. And what is really unique about our pre and post exchange support is that there's a lot of student voice in that effort. So we have students involved, student volunteers involved with our events, our promotional events, our pre-departure events, such as our social night, our orientation, and even the re-entry workshops that we've held in the past. So what happens next? This is important as well. We want you to ask yourself some important questions. What do you want to get out of an international experience? When does it make sense to go? What would your goals be? Is this an academic focused one in which you're looking for a program that allows you to really dabble in a particular subject? Or is this maybe more so about expanding your international networks, which will help you in your academics, your personal life, and your professional life down the road? Then we'd like you to visit the IPO Zoom room to talk about anything to do with exchange or study abroad, to follow us on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter accounts, and to start planning financially, personally, and academically for this experience. And of course, make sure that you attend IPO and BISC events in the fall. And we'll leave off on a quote from Amanda, who is an exchange student at the National University of Singapore. Exchange was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, so do take advantage of it. So we'll leave you with this final question as well. Where in the world will your degree take you? And I think probably the best way for Vicky and I to answer questions would be for you to join us at our booths. So you can find those through probably the central feature of tonight's Majors Night. But thank you on behalf of both of us for being such attentive guests in this session. It was a pleasure to share the virtual space with you. And we really hope that we'll see you at future international learning events.